Good evening, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show, Post, live streaming on Facebook Live and from our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show that's made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports. My name is Big Reg. I'm joined this evening by my partners in crime. What's going on, Professor J? How you doing this evening?
I'm blessed, man. What's going on, everybody? Let's have a great show. Praise the Lord.
Amen, amen, amen.
Man,
Next, we got our man J3. What's up, brother? How you feeling today?
What's up? Feeling good. Feeling good. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Of course, we got Big Ed in the building. How you feeling, Ed?
man, I'm way more prepared than these sports leagues that don't have bubbles.
Wow, you starting already. Already.
Ouch.
And guest appearance this evening, back better than ever. Our man Marcus from Delay of Game. Glad to have you back, Marcus. How you doing this evening?
What up, what up, what up? Glad to be here. I'm doing well.
What's going on, Marks?
What up, homie?
All right. Well, this evening we will discuss Major League Baseball. Season kicked off Thursday, and boy, have they had problems ever since. Woo! NFL and NFLPA finally reached a settlement on the back to play objectives, but now they may have issues. So we'll get into that. We'll also talk about the NBA restart. Season restarts this Thursday. So we're going to get into that, tell you who we like, who we think is going to win the different season awards, and last but not least, who we think is going to make it to the finals and win it all. And got to give some love to the ladies. So we're going to talk about the WNBA kickoff. They kicked their season off Saturday, had 2 triple headers over the weekend, plus some other topics that may have caught our eye and attention during the week, and of course, our final post of the evening. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy Post on the Positional and Sports Talk channel. All right, fellas. Man, I was feeling good. I was actually getting optimistic. Watched the world champion Washington Nationals kick off the season Thursday night. Saw my man Anthony Fauci come out and throw out the first pitch. J3, tell us a little bit about Anthony Fauci in that first pitch. I know you did a little research on that.
Yeah, so he tried to throw the ball across the mound. However, it didn't actually make it to the mound. And I think that he said he hurt his arm trying to do it. He didn't limber up like he should have. But the funny part is it was actually a political move. And I say that because we all know that normally the president of the United States is the person that throws out the first pitch for a game. However, because he's in the position that he's in right now, the Nationals thought it would be better to have an actual real leader throw out the first pitch. And therefore, that's
real
why
leader. Real leader.
And on top of that, have y'all heard that because he threw out the first pitch, that he has a baseball card now, and it actually sold. Yeah, they made like 50,000, and it sold just like that. So if you wasn't on it, if you weren't on it when it first came out, you ain't even gonna get it because it's gone.
Wow.
Let me say, so how are you a doctor and you don't know to limber up before you throw out a pitch? It's not like he's a professional pitcher. You just you ain't got to do a whole bunch. Just go out there and do that.
But
He's 79 years old, almost 80. Give Fauci a break, man.
What happened was he was saying he was practicing the day before, so he probably just threw that arm out and that arthritis started sitting there. And that's all that happened.
What's even funnier is he actually played baseball when he was in high school. So, I mean, it's not like you said, like Marcus said, it's not like he didn't know he should have limbered up. He just, age does have his factors, and obviously that's one of them.
See, that's why he had a recollection of those days and tried to do a little bit too much. That's what that was.
Yeah, because I don't know where that ball was going. They try to say maybe he thought he was throwing the first base.
He should just do it underhanded.
The pitch was socially distant.
Yeah, that's what it was. He wanted to catch it to get up. Get your
He's still my man, though.
Oh yeah,
Fauci's definitely my man. So the night kicked off well. The Yankees did their thing. I mean, that home run that Stanton hit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
vicious. Good Lord, man.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
And
Max
then the
wasn't
nightcap,
ready
I
yet.
think it was the Dodgers playing in the nightcap. So I mean, it was a good night. Things looked good. The rest of it. Okay, go ahead, Ed.
So I've been watching a lot of baseball this past weekend because I don't know when it's going to come to an abrupt end. And I've been taking advantage of the MLB app that my daughter gave me free. So thanks, Samaria. But anyway, what I've been noticing is it just seems like there's something missing, and I guess it is the fans. It just doesn't seem like there's any excitement in the stadiums. I mean, you have cardboard back people in the background, and it's just something. It seems like it's just like a scrimmage. It doesn't seem like it's like a real competitive game. There's no electricity. Like you referenced that Stanton home run in the first game. It actually hit another one the next day. 2 days after that, probably more impressive than that one. But it just didn't seem like it was like, oh, he hit a home run. Okay. Wow, it went pretty far. Okay. But it wasn't no animosity in the stadium. No one tried to throw the ball back into the field. It's just, I don't know how this is going to work. I mean, as far as no fans. So I'm definitely anticipating the NBA start up soon, so that we can, maybe get like another example of what it looks like to not have fans in the stadium at a big time sport event. It just doesn't seem right.
What was funny is
get used to the new normal, partner.
What was funny is when he hit the home run, normally you always see either kids or people running to try to get the ball, and they showed the camera and the ball
it was just sitting there.
Kept on rolling. I'm like, wow.
It seemed like it's a bootleg sports.
Yeah.
It seemed like like you bought it from the dude at the barbershop.
I hear you. So the rest of the league kicked off Friday, and they started playing their 3-game weekend series. And here we go. We can't even get through a weekend. Matter of fact, they didn't even get to the weekend.
Nope.
The Florida Marlins on Friday put their catcher on the DL and didn't tell anybody the reason. Now, I understand there's some HIPAA stuff and all that, but when you're dealing with the coronavirus, you need to let people know what's going on. So he tests positive Friday, which means he took the test Wednesday, because they're having like a 48-hour turnaround in MLB, which means they were in Atlanta,
right,
playing one of their preseason games.
You ain't see Lou Williams, did he?
We're gonna get into Lou a little later. So you let a team travel from Atlanta with a positive player. Don't tell the other players that he's been around. Put him on an airplane, a confined space, fly them up to Philadelphia, and play a series. And guess what? Saturday, 3 more players test positive, which means that test was from Thursday before they even came to Philly. And then the rest, we all saw Sunday. You get 7 more players, 2 people in the coaching staff, and then today they got 4 more. So now they got 17 personnel that's tested positive for COVID. And then Bama's played Sunday when they knew that they had at least 4 players test positive.
And see, this is the problem.
Phillies, I'd be pissed.
Well, they are. Well, from what we understand, they are pissed as far as that's concerned. But this is what happens when you don't follow the guidelines of medical professionals. When you let suits decide or plan the protocols, this is what's going to happen. And so now you've affected Atlanta potentially. Who knows who else was on that airplane unless it was a charter, but you still had the flight crew.
Exactly.
You've already proven that you've affected the Philadelphia organization and any teams that may be coming into Philadelphia, which I believe were the Yankees this weekend.
The Yankees are already in town. They said we're not going in that clubhouse.
and then on the flip side of that, in Miami, you had Baltimore who flew to Miami in anticipation of a series starting. They're already in Miami, so they like, okay, we're here, but obviously in a hot zone. But obviously, several members of the team can't fly back to Miami. It's just a mess. And now word has leaked that, well, not leaked. It's become official. They've temporarily suspended Miami from participating in any games for at least up until Sunday, I believe it is. It's just a mess, and this is just the beginning. We haven't even reached a week.
But they knew that before the season even started. Florida had already had increase in numbers. So, I mean, you really preaching to the choir about where they should be playing at. That shouldn't even have been an issue at all.
I hear you, J3, but just the fact that Major League Baseball, didn't have an actual procedure on their books for what they were going to do when multiple players from the same team tested positive in a cluster. Do you know who made the decision for them to play Sunday? The players did it via group text.
Well,
again, that's a lack of leadership, plain and simple.
Well, that's the problem. When all this bickering was going on as far as getting the season started, they never came to an official protocol as far as, first of all, they don't even have a reliable source agency as far as getting tested is concerned. But they never came to a consensus. They never came to a official protocol, even with that rumored thick binder they had worth of nothing that supposedly it contained the protocols. But they never really, if you look through it, if you could search, Google, whatever, they were never 100% sure on how exactly, first of all, what was going to constitute a game being delayed, what was going to constitute or postponed, I'm sorry, what was going to constitute a team being their games being disqualified or postponed, which is happening right now. None of this was checked. None of this was gone over. They were in a rush to get this season started. And Dr. Fauci, since I'll bring his name up since that's who we've been talking about of late, Dr. Fauci said before the season even started, and many other epidemiologists came out and said that unless you play these leagues in some type of bubble, you're not going to succeed because there's too many variables. I don't care how many fines you levy. I don't care how many, how tight the security is once they get to the stadium. These people, they're not staying in it. They're going home. They're not being confined to a set area. So we don't know who they're coming in contact with. And even if they say, okay, well, stay away from sick people. Well, what about the asymptomatic people? How do you know if someone's sick or not? No, we can't. We don't know.
Exactly.
So this is just the beginning, fellas. You all know this. J3, I know you know this.
Absolutely.
I agree. I believe this. It just won't affect Major League Baseball. I feel like everything is going to shut down eventually. Like I know Big Red, you said in the wintertime it's gonna between the flu and COVID, it's gonna affect us even more. Nothing's gonna last. All this sports, to be honest with you, is not necessary. We love it. We love to watch it. We love to bet on it and talk about it, but it's not essential. And so there's no reason for all these people, for to be spreading the sickness, for you to be getting sick and spreading it around the country like that. And
Marcus, you sound like Bob Costas over there. It's exactly the same thing he said.
It's not essential. It's not essential. Exactly. As much as I love, especially football, much as I love football, and I'll be sad if I get a whole fall with no football. It is what it is.
Me too.
Go and get the Kleenex out now, man. Go get the Kleenex out now.
But the sad thing is, while they was complaining and going back and forth. They all they had to do was look to the NHL for a semi. The NHL actually has a pretty decent plan in place now because they have. I believe they've expanded their play. I think they start August 1st. I think they have 16 teams. It could be 24, but I want to let's just say 16. And they created a bubble, but their bubble isn't like the NBA's bubble, which is confined to one area. Their bubble consists of 2 cities. So I don't understand why, if it was so vital that these baseball teams play baseball, and what it is greed, because I think they didn't want this bubble because they talked about having a bubble format, but I think they didn't really want to have a bubble format of any type because none of the owners was willing to sacrifice a dime because they wanted all that revenue through ads and whatever else. They wanted it all to themselves instead of saying, hey, 2020 is not regular. We're going to have to make some sacrifices. We're going to have to do things a little different if we want to have any type of season. So what I'm saying is, instead of 2 cities, which is what the NHL is doing, I'm sure, okay, that might not be feasible when you have so many teams. But why not have maybe a 4 cities, each team assigned to a city, go into some sort of bubble within that city, and then play. But don't go home to your families. Don't go to the grocery store. Don't go to. I can't say don't go to church. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Church is online. Church is online.
But the gist of it is they could have came up with a better concept than what they have right now. And like I said, it's just beginning.
But Ed, that would have hold on real quick. That would have took some thought. That would have took some planning. That would have took some leadership to think about how they were going to implement something like that. And we all know that ain't happening. Go ahead, Jamani.
Yeah, well, let's pump the brakes a little bit, fellas. Remember way back when spring training first came around, the plan for Major League Baseball was to play in 2 cities, in Arizona and down in Florida. But that got deep six because people started getting sick back then, and then the whole concept kind of washed away. So now, to y'all point, I think they flying by the seat of their pants, really, because of greed, trying to get the season in. Because at first they thought that model of having 2 hot weather cities, remember somebody said that by the summertime it'll be wiped out. So they were believing that once it got hot, that it would be gone. Well, we see that didn't happen.
And we can't put all of that on the owners. Don't forget, the Major League Baseball players, some of the top players came out and said they weren't going to go to Arizona and be stuck there for 4 or 5 months. So the players were just as guilty of this. They didn't want the bubble because they didn't want to be away from their families so long. They're so pampered. So it was both parties involved in this. And now they got this situation where you're going, even with them trying to silo teams, you know that instead of the traditional conferences and things, they got East Coast, Central, and West Coast teams. The East Coast teams are only playing East Coast teams. They're not flying across country or different time zones. They tried to keep the teams in the time zone. That still doesn't matter. We got outbreak in every time zone. If you're flying from the top to the bottom, you got a problem.
Because red is all on that map. I don't care where you look.
Yeah.
It ain't like red. It's deep red.
Yeah, it's blood red.
And for my man Sense, I saw his comment talking about the Phillies haven't tested positive yet. Remember, they just played the games. It normally takes a person to actually test and show. It could take them anywhere from 3 to up to 10 days to start showing positives. So we may not know if the Phillies were infected or not.
That's right.
Until later this week.
That's why I said not yet. That's right.
And if Philly players start testing positive, they're going to have to shut it down. Because then you can't have a team travel, get another team sick. It's already been a mess. They had to have the Yankees sit in a hotel for 2 days. Now they sent the Yankees back home. They canceled all the Phillies games until at the earliest this weekend because they don't want to bring anybody into Philadelphia to play them.
No cheesesteaks for y'all.
The Orioles had to fly from Florida up to New York. They weren't scheduled to play New York. It's just a total mess. And the commissioner had the nerve to get on TV. He didn't even have the nerve to get on a real sports channel. He went on the Major League Baseball network so he could have some salt and actually said, we think our plan's going to work well with this. We planned for this.
Trying to save face.
He couldn't have planned for this because if you think about it, Big Reg, I think they have like 6 built-in. Now, first of all, let's remember, it's only a 9-week season,
right?
So you got to understand that first. But if you think about it, it's a 9-week season. They've already canceled basically a whole week worth of games for the Florida Marlins, right? Already. So how do you make those games up? So now we're talking about competitive balance. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So already the season has been compromised. So anybody that doesn't believe in asterisks, well, you're going to believe in it this year. But I honestly don't believe we're going to get through it. I honestly believe,
they won't.
Like you were saying, Marcus, I don't believe this is going to work. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, the league is already conceding that they probably will have teams that won't finish all 60 games, so they're making a contingency plan. I guess they're going to do it by a winning percentage or what, but I don't know. It's going to be crazy.
I think the best bet would be just to have a real quick tournament, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Everybody stays in the same city, in the same area. Nobody leaves, and just 2-week, 3-week tournament and just declare
College
champion.
World Series style.
Yeah,
College World Series style.
Declare champion at the end of that, and that's the season right there.
Right.
But
that actually sounds good.
It's not enough time to do that. I'm telling y'all, this virus is not going anywhere. So y'all talking about 3, 4, 5 weeks from now. By then, who's to say that the numbers are going to triple by then? You still taking the risk if you're going out on the field.
If they put them in a bubble,
where
the only time they come out the bubble is when they actually on the field playing each other, they got a chance to make it.
So you gonna tell me if I'm sitting in a bubble and I want to go get me a cheeseburger because this chef ain't gonna fix it the way I want to fix it? Yeah, okay.
Hey, one thing I want to add real quick.
Get you some chicken wings.
One thing I want to add is that
my grill.
I gotta commend the Nationals. Now the Nationals, the teams don't or the players don't necessarily, they can't actually say they're not going to play. It's up to the commissioner's office to actually come down and say, hey, no games, we have something's happened. But the Nationals players voted and they decided that they did not want to play the Miami Marlins this weekend.
Right. They said
so stay tuned on that because technically the expiration, there's still going to be time. There's still going to be time for them to play some of that series if Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, signs off on it this weekend. So we'll see what happens with that because I think that series was going to start either Friday or Saturday, and I think
I think it's supposed to be Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe. But the Nats was like, we're not going, and that's why I think the Nats players not only taking a vote but making it public that they didn't want to go to Florida, forced them to basically say, okay, we're going to put them on hold for now.
Yeah.
Because you don't want the defending world champions going out on ESPN, Fox Sports 1, talking about they making us go to Miami. Yeah, that would have been a good look. So, Major League Baseball, they continue to get it wrong.
I tell you, there's 2 words that will forever describe the summer of 2020. That's bubble and entanglement. Those 2 words.
Oh my God.
How about that?
On that point, we're going to move on to the NFL.
Whoa.
Another team, organization is trying to play a season without a bubble. Now, Friday, the NFL and NFLPA finally agreed on terms on the back-to-play resolution. The biggest things left, because we talked last week about the testing protocol, how they want to test every day for the first 2 weeks, and then every other day unless it goes over 5%. They nixed preseason. We already knew that. So the big things was, how are you going to set up training camp and practices? what are the opt-out procedures, and how we going to deal with this revenue loss?
All about the money.
But
Yes,
the money is
sir.
huge, because they was talking about socking each team with $70 million cap hits either this year or next year, and so that's like $1.2 billion that they was going to try to take from the players all in one shot. And the players were like, oh, nah, we ain't having that. We not having that. So they did agree that the cap for this year remained the same, which is $198.2 million. 2021, the cap cannot be below $175 million. And then they will spread any additional loss out over the next 4 seasons. So at least they were able to spread that money out a little bit to not have the players take the brunt all at once. Did any of y'all see the videos that were going around this weekend about the different training facilities at the NFL organizations that was out, how they had changed the locker rooms? Some organizations moved locker rooms outside under tents, got the weight rooms outside. You only got, or they moved lockers outside of it, how they changed the weight rooms and all that. They did all this stuff to show how they were getting ready and prepared for COVID. When you walk in the building, you got to get your temperature checked on iPads and stuff like that. All this great stuff. Minnesota was one of those that did a video like that. What happened in Minnesota, Ed?
Yeah. This Bama. So Eric Sugarman, he's the head of infection control for the Minnesota Vikings. He's also their head trainer. And his title, he's a VP of the team. So he has a lot of juice, right? So Peter King, I don't know if you guys ever followed Peter King. He used to be on SI.com.
Right.
Yeah, Monday Morning Quarterback. But
Quarterback, yeah.
So Sugarman gave Peter King this exclusive tour, and I'm telling you, of the Minnesota's COVID-19 facility, right? And
state of the art.
It had me wanting to play. I swear, I was getting ready to fly to Minnesota and apply for a job. I mean, because it ended up being like this hype video that I was like, man, I need to be in Minneapolis, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday, it came down the pike, bold headlines that Sugarman tested positive for COVID-19. Now,
the
whole family, right?
Now, in this video, he had guns spraying air, disinfectant everywhere. Like you said, Big Reg.
He probably took a shower in.
Man, if he can't stay safe, and now this guy is responsible for the whole protocol
team.
For the whole team.
Organization.
Whatever he says basically goes. If he can't protect himself and his family, how's he going to protect the team? It's not going to work.
Nope.
And again, I hate to sound like we did, to repeat myself from the previous segment, but if the head of infection control for the Minnesota Vikings, if he's sick, and I'm sure he's taking every precaution that you can imagine, I can't see him not washing his hands. I can't see him being in public, not social distancing. I can't see him not wearing a mask. He wore one at the interview. So I can't see, if he got sick, who's safe? Literally, who's safe? And we're not even talking about big bodies, tackling one another, going through drills, and whatever else is involved in, training for a football season or playing a football season. Yeah, it's,
and I'm sure anybody in the building. So you got nobody in the building. You're going to have 100+ people in the building.
Right.
Yeah, what was he doing when he was leaving campus?
Right.
You think he
might have been there with Lou Williams.
And see, Professor J, you bring up a good point. The NFL has come out with a whole list of protocols that basically transfer the responsibility of staying safe to the players. Now, I'm not, and like you mentioned in the previous segment, Big Reg, I'm not putting all this blame on the owners, because the players have some responsibility too, as far as staying safe and doing the right things, as far as when they're outside of the facility. But we don't know who we come into contact with. That's the issue with not having a bubble.
Yep.
If you don't have some type of bubble, the NFL, they're deemed they've actually have a bubble. They're calling it a virtual bubble. But it's too many. But they're asking people to police themselves. How are these players going to police themselves? They're not. We know this to be true. Even if not, say there's 100 players in the league, we know there's way more. Say there's 100 players in the league. If one player acts up, and he might not even necessarily have to, he might be running to go get a soda at the 7-Eleven or something, wherever. You don't know who he's coming to contact with. He brings that back. Now it's spreading like wildfire. It's just that simple.
We about to find out with the Clippers.
Oh my!
We're gonna get to the NBA. We're gonna get to the NBA. Don't jump too far ahead. So yeah, talking about those restrictions that the NFL is placing on the players. They can't be, once they leave the campus, they can't go anywhere with any environment that has more than 15 people at any time at all, period. That's considered high risk. With the exception of church, and if they go to a church, it has to be 25% capacity or less. If they're deemed caught in a high-risk environment, they can be fined, suspended, or have their contracts invalidated.
Ouch.
But you know, Big Red, you know that's a bunch of bull, right? So you telling me if Ezekiel Elliott, if he goes to the shake joint, are you telling me? Are you telling me Jerry Jones going to cut him and fine him? Come on.
No, but he might cut the fullback because Zeke was out.
Yeah. Roger Goodell would.
Didn't Zeke already test positive for COVID?
Yeah,
he did.
Yep.
Yeah, he did. Man, I'm trying to tell you, that's why I'm not blaming any players for opting out, because if they say, look, I don't think I can live that way, or I got babies or child on the way, don't want to be away from my wife, I take care of my parents, whatever the case may be, I commend them right now if they say, look, I don't want to live that way. I want to stay safe in my own environment. Some people, believe it or not, newsflash everybody, some athletes actually are responsible and they do actually take care of their family and their society. So these players in all sports now, but definitely the NFL, because we about to get to the several ones that have opted out now, if they decide that they don't want to play ball this year, man, my hat is off to them. They need to do what they have to do to protect themselves and their families.
Yep.
Before we get to the opt-out, go ahead, Marcus.
All it's going to take for the shut the whole NFL season down, I said this last week in your comments, is one of these high-powered quarterbacks to get COVID. Brady, Drew Brees, Mahomes. One of these quarterbacks get COVID. Russell Wilson. It's going to shut everything down.
And how Brady acting, that ain't too far-fetched down in Tampa. That ain't too far-fetched.
Actually talked about that. Him and his twin brother have their own little podcast that they do weekly. And they were talking about it. And McCourty was saying, man, I don't think we're going to be able to get this season finished. And he said, it has nothing to do with the protocols. He said, I go on social media and look, and I'm seeing guys in clubs, guys taking pictures and shots with themselves in the background with selfies with hundreds of people.
Yeah.
He's like, man, we trying to play football. What are y'all doing? So it's gonna be the play, and then they going home every day.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna hit them.
You sure know Washington football team players was in your backyard this weekend? You don't know.
You ain't see Chase down there. I know he's living over Marlboro.
What about Darius Geis?
They might have been over at the mansion this weekend.
That party was ridiculous. But people don't want to listen. They just don't want to listen. But it ain't gonna hit them until they hit one of their personal family members or themselves. And then once that happens, is snap. What am I gonna do now?
And then it's going to get real. Speaking about the opt-outs, NFL players had 7 days from the official agreement, which I think they technically said was Monday. Since then, as of 3:35 this afternoon was the last time I was able to check before the show, 21 players had already opted out of the NFL season. Now, the NFL and the NFL Players Association had basically categorized opt-outs pretty much three ways. You can opt out and just opt out, no issues, nothing. And I believe you get $150,000 advance towards next year's salary, and your contract is just basically put in hold. What do they call it, Ed?
They call it tolled. 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 Tolled.
Yeah. So your contract is just in limbo for a year, and you pick it up next year.
Mm-hmm.
You can opt out if you have a medical reason. And if you look at the list of the players who opt out, a lot of them are offensive and defensive linemen. So people with asthma, breathing issues, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, who are definitely at high risk, can opt out for medical reasons.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, you get $350,000. It's not in advance. The NFL is just going to give you $350,000 since you're not playing this year. You get a year accumulation of service. So it seems like you played, so it helps you going for free agency. And if your contract's up, you're a free agent. If not, you got a year left on your contract. And then you can opt out if you have a medical reason for another family member. And then you have to submit some stuff. But if that gets approved, you could also get the $350,000. So 21 players as of 3:30 this afternoon, and the New England Patriots had 6.
Mm-hmm.
6.
Mm-hmm.
3 starters. So what do y'all think? Y'all think this is going to be? That's going to we've seen the biggest amount of people opting out, or you think over the next 5-6 days we're going to get a bunch more players deciding it's not worth the playing?
Yep, there'll be more. Yep.
Well, I'll say this: the reason why I think it looks like so many linemen are opting out is because, man, you know how much body fluid is exchanged down there in those trenches.
Exactly.
That's where I'd be ready to boast if I was a lineman. You got spit and all kinds of stuff going on. So yeah, like Professor J said, I don't hold it against anybody that opts out. You have to worry about your health, your family's health. You have to worry about yourself, because all they trying to do is make money. All the NFL, the owners, and they're just trying to make money.
Well, I know the star defensive tackle, who's the anchor of that Chicago Bears line, if not defense, Eddie Goldman said he has asthma, and he says I'm not a normal person. He said, and this is not a normal year, and so that he can't take a chance, literally dying on the field and it's not worth it. They're going to give him $350K just to sit home and just relax. To me, even if I was getting $150K, actually, if I was getting no money at all, I don't think it's worth the risk as far as COVID-19. Now, I think, to your point, Marcus, I think that the star quarterbacks, I think they'll be the last people to opt out. I just think they're probably one step below management in most cases. And I think that they're the face of the franchises in most cases. And I think if we see one of them to opt out, we might be on to something. But I don't think we'll see that. I hope maybe I'm wrong. It's just a guess, a hunch. But like you said, if one of them happens to contract COVID-19, then that'd be something. But one point that I want to make also, as far as the quarterbacks or even these teams, sometimes, and this is what we were talking about last week when we were leaving and saying, let's not leave these decisions or the decisions that people make just because they make them for us. That doesn't mean we have to necessarily fall in line with them, so to speak. And so even though the NFL does not want a bubble, I don't see how some of these players may come to the realization, say, hey, we can arrange our own living arrangements just for a few months, isolate ourselves away from our families, because that's the most horrible thing I can think of is contracting something on the field, bringing it back to your kids. And many of these people have small kids. Well, whether they're small or big doesn't make a difference. But I think that's the problem, bringing stuff back home. And I think that like if it's confined to your teammates, maybe that's one thing. So I don't see how these players maybe decide to, hey, you know what? I'm going to get an apartment for the year. I'm not going to bring anything back to my family, and I'm gonna ride this out until I can't no more. I think that might be a compromise, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm
That
gonna
was
pull
actually a
J3's flag on the play on that one. Because quite frankly, and no offense to all you athletes out there, I'm not trusting any athlete to make a decision on their own. We just seen ample evidence across all sports about how athletes can't control themselves, whether young or veteran. We got cases with all of them doing stupid stuff. And even if they get their own apartment and then nobody's holding them accountable, man, one of them gonna go do something and then they're gonna go to practice and then it's gonna be all over the place. And then you're going to have everything being shut down. I mean, I'm of the opinion now that it's just inevitable. Whether they start the sports or not, I don't see how they're going to finish it. Because as soon as that cold weather and that flu bug come in, man, this thing going to get a whole lot worse. Just don't see it.
Yeah, and as far as that apartment thing, you know those dudes going to be inviting them Instagram models over.
Right.
They're away from the wife and the family. You know they're going to be inviting them Instagram models.
Oh, man.
Well, there was actually a proposal given to the NFL for local bubbles.
Yep.
Where the team, the coaches, everybody sequestered for the season.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's away. You go to the facility, back to the hotel, play the games, fly in the day of the game for away games, fly right back out. So you're not really even in the city. And the NFL put a quick kibosh on that. They said, nah, we can handle it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Sugarman handling it right now in Minnesota.
Yeah, exactly.
In other NFL news, we got to talk real quick about what you guys thought about the big trade of the week. Your boy Jamal Adams finally got his way out of the New York Jets, which is a horrible organization, and ended up in a pretty good situation with Seattle. So what you guys think?
I think that it was a good trade as far as all parties were involved. Although I personally think it's too much to spend on a safety, 2 number 1 picks. Basically, they gave 2 number 1 picks, and a starter, and a 3rd rounder for 1 player and a 4th round pick. Basically, I think it was too much to pay for a particular player that's not a franchise quarterback or an impact pass rusher or maybe even a left tackle, maybe. But
good point, Herman.
By comparison, Minkah Fitzpatrick, who made All-Pro last year, went from Miami to Pittsburgh for just 1 number 1 pick. But I don't blame Seattle for doing it because they don't really put a lot of value on 1st-round draft picks. That's not how they build their team typically. If you look at the past 10 years, they've only used their number 1 pick in their draft 5 times, so 50% of the time. And out of those last 10 years, none of them have been stars. The last star that they've actually picked was probably Earl Thomas, and that was, I would say, 11 years ago. Because Russell Wilson is a 3rd round pick, Bobby Wagner is a 2nd round pick. The list goes on. Sherman was a 5th round pick. So that's not how they typically. Beast Mode was a trade. So they don't really care about their 1st round picks. So for them to give them up, like I said, I thought it was too much of a price to pay. But for that organization who doesn't value 1st round draft picks anyway, I guess it was a good trade.
It's only going to make
I like the trade because the Jets suck. So I see why he wanted to get out of town. And Le'Veon Bell just mad because he left him behind. Your chump behind should have stayed in Pittsburgh if you want to be real about it. But
That's
yeah,
right.
I like the trade because now you know Pete Carroll loves him some defense. You know he loves his hard-hitting, ball-hawking safeties. So when he saw an opportunity to get that, to your point, J3, man, and Ed, his first-round picks, man, he's like Bill Belichick with that. He knows that he can get quality later in the draft because they at Washington, you listening to this, they actually have a quality scouting department that actually goes across the country and they actually evaluate talent for the way that it is. So when they bring in people, they know exactly what they're getting. And when you put them in that scheme that Pete Carroll had, man, you start making some great stuff there, boy.
Preach on it, son. Preach on
it. Professor J, can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
Why didn't Jamal Adams say the Jets sucked last fall when he wanted a new contract? He was
because
cool.
he wanted to see if they gonna pay him that money. That's why. Thank you, Ed. I mean, thank you, J3. It's always about money. If I'm gonna stay in place and I'm gonna be on a terrible franchise, I mean, who's their coach? Adam Gase. I mean, if I'm gonna stay in a franchise like that, you definitely gonna give me top dollar. Or yeah, I'm gonna be traded. So that's a no-brainer right there.
He in New York City.
So
he in New York City.
He played for the Jets.
In New York,
I can see if it was the Giants, but it's the Jets.
They both
what good ever came out of New York with the Jets except Broadway Joe? What else they got? Come on, man.
They stank.
Yeah,
I'm trying. I'm
gang green for a reason.
What you got on this, Marcus?
Well, pretty much what Ed was saying. It's that many first round picks. That's a lot, but also like he was saying, Seattle doesn't really build on first round picks like that. So my first thought was, that's a little much, but now I'm rethinking that. I'm thinking maybe it was a good deal, and they're trying to rebuild the Legion of Boom and get some So I still probably wouldn't have put up that much for him, but it'll probably work out. It'll probably work out for Seattle. Stuff like this seems to always work out for Seattle.
Let's round picks. Let's not act like they high first round picks. Seattle's going to be in the playoffs, so the first round picks are going to be from 20 to 32. So they're almost like second round picks. We sorry, Karen. We ain't mean that about the Giants. Yes, we did. But go ahead.
Yes, we did.
So if you look at, they got a number 6 draft pick for 20 to 30 something round position first round picks, and then you add the fact that next year's draft, and somebody I was watching I think it was Fox Sports 1, and they brought up a great point. We probably won't have college football this year.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the 2021 draft is either going to be no football played or very limited played. So you're going to have to really, that draft's going to be a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get because a player could have been good his junior year, but not ready for the NFL, and you didn't get a chance to see him play and see him progress. So I like it. I like it. And if Jamal can be 80% of either one of those safeties they had in the Legion Boom, that's going to make their defense just change instantly. Kind of like the same thing that happened in Pittsburgh last year. That switch, adding that safety last year, made that defense totally different.
Yeah, because Pittsburgh has some garbage back there in the back end. It's great.
Big Red, if you're right, that just means the next year's combine is going to be really intense. It's going to really count a whole lot more if they can't, if there's no college football this season.
That's if they even get together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I was going to say that too.
Yeah, there might not even be a combine. That's another good point. But you're right. You're going to have your scouts on top of things. And how many team organizations have not so highly qualified scouting departments? So
don't say nothing, Professor J.
Because Red said on top of things. You can't say that in Washington. They have your scouts on top of things.
Speaking about Washington, Washington had somebody pop up on the police blotter. Your boy Cody Latimer got put on the NFL commissioner's exempt list for brandishing a firearm and firing the firearm. What was that? I think that was in May.
Yeah, in Colorado.
And then you still got the DeAndre Baker and the Quentin Dunbar issue that's got to be sorted out, where they actually charged with armed robbery. So,
and then tried to pay off the victims.
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah, Latimer has a history of kind of some mental illness, man. That brother needs help, man. I hope he can get it for real.
I hope so too. But as Erasto said early on, as far as the teams and the bubble, the virtual bubble, however the NFL is trying to do it, it only takes one.
Yeah.
And in an NFL situation, one person gets sick and bring it into the locker room.
That's a wrap.
You can wipe out a whole position group.
Yeah. You sure can.
We can already see they don't make good decisions.
It might be the quarterbacks, Marcus. The whole room done.
It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's move on to the NBA. NBA restarts this Thursday. They got 2 games opening up. Of course, they had to make sure that they got their new future face of the NBA on prime time. So Zion and the New Orleans Pelicans will be starting out against the Utah Jazz. And then the nightcap has probably the Western Conference Finals with the Clippers and Lakers going against each other. As of 6:30 this evening, it looked like the big man is injured again. He stay hurt.
AD.
He stay hurt. Yeah, AD got poked in the eye and saw him sitting on the side, wearing sunglasses. Didn't practice. Said that he probably won't play. So,
Boogie.
But the bubble's working.
Is it?
Huh?
Is it?
Let's talk about it. Since the bubble has been put in place, everybody who's gone into the bubble, passed the initial quarantine, and actually got allowed inside the bubble, they've had 0 positive tests. And the NBA is testing daily. In their
don't touch the mic.
$600 million to $1 billion bubble. Now they've had people have had to leave. Some people have left for family emergencies. Zion just cleared back his quarantine period from coming back from a medical family emergency.
You hear that, Lou? You hear that, Lou?
You got 3 Clippers that had to leave the bubble for different reasons. And then we had our boy Lou.
Make it rain, make it rain.
Oh, sweet Lou Williams.
Man, he was getting some chicken wings.
Right. Hey, they limit a barbecue too.
He was getting some chicken wings. He was getting some chicken wings.
His name after him, right?
Oh, Ed, you wrong, Ed. You wrong.
Chicken wings.
First of all, for y'all that don't know, Lou Williams left the bubble to go visit close family member's father's funeral in Atlanta, where he's from. He grew up right outside of Atlanta, spends a lot of time in Atlanta in his off season. So on his way after the funeral, Lou decided to make a little small pit stop because he wanted to get his favorite wings. These wings are actually named after Lou.
All flat.
Right.
His favorite spot, Magic City.
Make it rain, make it rain.
For any of y'all out there that aren't familiar with Magic City is a world famous adult entertainment venue.
Man,
in
they got wings.
Atlanta.
They got wings.
Right. Supposedly they're supposed to have the best wings in town.
Yeah, they got wings, all right.
Yeah, and drumettes
and thighs too, and breasts.
Wings.
So my question for you fellas, how often do you got to go to an establishment, and how much money you got to spend to get some wings named after you?
I don't know, but we can ask James Harden. I'm sure he knows. He got his damn jersey.
Oh yeah.
So hey,
the bearded one.
Right.
And see, and the crazy thing about Lou Will is that Lou Will, he got his reputation precedes him.
Oh yeah.
So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about a kid. See, a lot of these.
That's my point.
I could see if it was like one of the 19-year-old rookies. Even Zion. I mean, it could have been anybody age 22 and below. This man been in the NBA for 15 years. He's a 15-year veteran.
Right.
He done won the 6-man award 3 times. He might even win it again this year.
Yep.
So we're not talking about a child.
I bet. That's why he can't start. He always doing something else. And look here, Ed. And
he don't get so much energy, huh?
You know who defended him? Matt Barnes. I need him to shut up. Shut up, Matt Barnes. Please. Matt Barnes. That's the last person I want defending me.
Wow.
This is the man who broke into his ex-wife's party. Yeah. Beat up Derek Fisher for dating his wife, his ex-wife. Now he owns a weed factory. No judge. The man, hey, everybody got to make
making money,
man. Yeah, he got wings named after him too somewhere.
Well, that's crazy. Come on.
So I'm assuming Lou, he didn't get curbside pickup when he went and got the wings.
Yeah. No.
It was barbecue lemon peppers.
It was taking photos. The reason he got busted, he'd have been good if he didn't take a photo. He got busted in a selfie and had the mask that they gave him from inside the bubble on. That's how the NBA knew. Because the original story, once it came out all over social media, the guy who was posting the thing said, "Oh, that's old."
Yeah, that's
old. That's old.
It's the match we just him last week.
At least he was masked up. At least he was masked up.
Yeah. Well, it might have been old. It was last week.
It was last year. Well, they had no COVID last year, you idiot.
He tried to cover that joint up. That's all. Right. That's all he did.
And then he lied and said there was no entertainers there.
Right.
On Magic City's website right now, Magic City open from 10 a.m. till 3 a.m.
And I know they open because I checked the website to see what type of wings he was Hey, I'm gonna just tell you the truth. Lemon pepper barbecue.
So do y'all think that Lou's extra trip is going to have any effect on the Western Conference with the Clippers?
That all depends on if he caught the Rona or not.
Well, supposedly he tested negative every day. He did get tested every day. He was outside the bubble, and of course they've been testing him since. But the NBA said we got to make an example of you, so they hit him with a 10-day quarantine in his room. Can't go out, can't see anybody, can't talk to anybody. So I know that's killing him. Versus when Zion came back, Zion only had to do 4 days.
I hope he got some of the wings to go and brought him back.
Man, y'all killing me.
And it's gonna cost him 2 game checks. So them some damn expensive wings.
Man.
He didn't pay for them anyway.
You're in quarantine for 10 days. You probably want some wings.
But I don't think that. But to answer your question, Big Red, I don't think there's going to be any problem. I think, to be honest with you, I think that's the NBA lifestyle and that little fraternity that they are. I think they knew Lou was going. If he was going home, they knew he was going to Magic City. He even said, "Ask my teammates my favorite restaurant." Now this man done made millions of dollars, and he said his favorite restaurant was Magic City Wings. Come on now,
right?
He's not that. Come, I'm not being bougie. And I don't know, I love me some wings. You saw me getting down on me some wings right now. I couldn't help myself. But but I'm just saying that they knew he was going. They knew he was going to blow off steam because you know what? They're not going to be mad because if they leave the bubble, it might not be Magic City, but they're going to find wherever they hang out. That's where they're going to be at. So it's not going to be a problem. They probably jealous. If anything, they probably jealous. They're like, man, I should have came up with something. A family emergency.
I don't know. I don't
it's all good to somebody get sick.
I don't see Kawhi that way. I think Kawhi pissed.
Yeah, it's all good till somebody gets sick. I'm telling you.
Because
just like when Donovan Mitchell got sick at Gobert.
Yeah,
it's just like that.
True.
Yeah,
that's it.
So you got the Lakers up 5.5 games over the Clippers. The start back, there's only 8 games that they're playing for the rest of the season. So theoretically, the Lakers gotta have some combination of them winning 2, winning 1, and the Clippers losing 1 or 2, and that wraps up the West. The big thing in the West, because I think 1 through 6 or 7 are pretty set established. It's that 8th seed that's going to be a big, big issue. Right now, the Memphis Grizzlies, with your boy John Morant, currently sits in the 8th seed, but he's got 3 teams that are 3.5 games back, which includes New Orleans, because they wanted to see if Zion can make the playoffs. Portland, with your man Dame, and that's a tough one, and Sacramento.
Nobody wants to play Portland. The Lakers do not want to play Portland in the first round. No one wants to see Lillard go up against. Who's the Lakers point guard now? Now that Rondo's gone, who's
LeBron?
Okay.
Who?
That's who the point is.
I mean, okay, that's true. That's true. I just don't think they want to see Portland. And Portland, they got healthy in this little absence. They got the big man back.
Whiteside.
No, the big boy.
Yeah, Portland got their starting center back, and also their starting power forward back, who had been missing almost all season. No, Westside, they signed Westside because their starting center was hurt.
What's the guy's name? He's foreign dude. I can't remember his name.
Can't think of his name right now, but Portland's gonna be a problem. So y'all don't think John Morant can hold Portland off or New Orleans off? Because I think New Orleans is a problem. New Orleans got a nice young squad. Nate Nurkic. Yeah, thank you. And they're starting to really gel. And if Zion, who's practicing tonight, if he can play all 8 games, New Orleans going to be an issue for a lot of players, because they was beating teams when Zion went through that, when Zion came back. So,
but
who y'all like coming out the West?
You still can't sleep on the Grizzlies. You can't sleep on the Grizzlies.
Lakers.
So you think the Grizzlies going to keep the 8th spot?
I don't see why they won't.
The NBA and the refs going to do everything they can to make sure they keep the 8th spot.
Wow. I don't know about that one, Ed.
Why?
I think they'd rather see Zion in the 8th spot or Dame.
Yeah, but you can't take away the accomplishments that the Grizzlies have done this year. John Morant has led that team to where they at. They deserve to be in the playoffs.
And that's the rookie of the year.
Absolutely.
He should be. He definitely should be rookie of the year.
But don't forget,
not no co-damn rookie. He should be the rookie.
The rookie of the year.
Exactly.
But don't forget, the NBA put that little caveat in this new playoff scheme for 2020. If you're within 4 games of the 8th seed by the end of this 8-game relaunch, then the 8th seed and the 9th seed play in a 1-game playoff to get the 8th seed.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah. That's the Zion. Bullshit. That's the Zion peel then.
Absolutely.
I actually think Portland's going to pull it off. I think Portland will end up in the 9th seed if they don't catch Memphis. Then Portland will end up 9th and beat them in a 1-game winner take all.
And you say Portland's up by? I mean, not Portland, but you say that Memphis is up by what? 3.5.
3.5. So New Orleans, Portland. And I'm not giving much credit to Sacramento, but they are also 3.5 games out. All 3 of them have the same record.
They got a young team also, and they playing well. So don't count them out just yet.
Now over in the Eastern Conference, Milwaukee's 6.5 games up. So they pretty much wrapped up the number 1 seed. The Greek Freak is playing phenomenal. He even doing things in the scrimmages that they're having over there. He already balling out, so he looks real good. But My sleeper pick to come out of the East.
Don't say the Sixers.
Toronto. Yep, I agree.
The Wizards.
Toronto. Siakam, baby. And I'm telling you, Van Vliet is balling. I'm telling you.
You got championship pedigree, and I got to give Nick Nurse his credit. Nick Nurse is a hell of a coach, and them boys got a chip on their shoulder. They're like, oh, y'all thought we was just that man that came in and then left? Oh, no, we won rings too. And as you say, Siakam has stepped up big time. They got the boy that was hurt last year back, Anadonde, something like that. He was injured. He was there starting 3 and got hurt. He's back. Don't count them out, especially because they can D up the Greek Freak.
Siakam,
what
nice.
Is sense smoking.
Siakam is nice. Don't sleep on him.
Yeah, sense crazy. The Heat can't.
He's smoking something over there, man.
We have another sleeper.
He's saying that because they've actually got a 2-1 record against Milwaukee. They beat Milwaukee
regular
twice
season?
already this year.
Nah. Regular season? Nah.
I just think the Bucks have a lot to prove. They feelings got hurt when they lost to Toronto last year.
Yeah.
And I think the Freak knows you build your platform in the playoffs. The greats shine in the playoffs. And we all know he's going to be great whether he loses in the first round or not. But the way you get separated is by advancing in the playoffs. Like Kawhi.
Absolutely.
Like Kawhi, he's just right now, he don't even care about the regular season no more. He's just a missionary. He's like, I'm a playoff dude. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's where you gain your reputation. That's how you grow your brand. So
the claw.
I think Milwaukee has something to prove this year. Whether or not they make it past Toronto, that's to be seen. But
all right, so real quick, give me your East Conference matchup, Eastern, Western Conference champions who are gonna play in the finals.
Ooh, that's a rough one. Well, in the Eastern, you gotta go Bucks and probably Toronto. And I'm still saying that the Bucks are going to redeem themselves and take the Raptors. As far as the West goes, it's got to be LA against LA, and I'm thinking the Clippers.
Okay. All right. Who's next?
I agree with J3, except I like LA. I like the Lakers to win it all over the Clippers.
Okay.
Get out of here.
Celtics be choking.
Yeah. And they got
keep
good players
healthy.
too.
The Lakers got a shot. What you say, Marcus?
The LA too
Out of
cute.
the East, I'm gonna say the Bucks and the Raptors. Probably the Bucks make it to the championship. And I'm gonna have to co-sign with J3 again on the Lakers and the Clippers. And as much as I don't like LeBron, it'll probably be the Lakers in the championship.
Oh, dude, I wasn't picking the Lakers, bro. I was picking the Clippers. You sleeping?
Right.
Well, I'm saying as far as the conference championship.
Hey, slow down, dog. Slow down.
What you got, Professor J?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be Bucks, Toronto, and then on the other side is all LA, and I got it Bucks and Lakers with the Bucks lifting the trophy.
Ooh.
Nice.
Got the Bucks lifting the trophy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I like Toronto coming out the East, playing the Bucks, and I gotta agree. Everybody's LA. I think I'm agree with the Clippers. As long as they can keep everybody out the strip clubs and get them on the court, the Clippers just too deep. The Clippers are literally 12 deep, and all of them can ball. So it's gonna be interesting. So, was that unanimous about Ja Morant for Rookie of the Year?
Hell
Yes,
yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Shouldn't be no questions asked. We hear you, E. We
Player of
see
the
you,
year.
Sense. Player of the year? Giannis.
Defensive player of the year.
Giannis.
Who you got?
Giannis.
Who you got, Ed?
I have to say, I hate to say this, but I'll say Gobert.
Who?
He started all this.
But that don't take away from his defense.
No, no. But who?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Who you got, Professor?
LBJ.
Defensive player of the year?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Okay.
What you been watching?
Okay.
What about you, Marcus?
I'm gonna go Rudy too. Rudy Gobert.
Oh wow. Okay.
Man, they not giving it to him because they gonna blame him for a whole bunch of stuff. Nah, my real pick is Giannis, Greek Freak, all the way.
Okay. Well, since everybody thinks it's Giannis and Rudy, I'm gonna throw the wild card out there. AD's gonna get a lot of love because he's playing with LeBron, and actually got LeBron to play a little
I
defense
thought you was
this
gonna
year.
say Dwight Howard.
Oh no. Now Anthony Davis is actually balling this year. Yeah. So last but not least, before we get off of this NBA MVP, Giannis or Bron?
Bron.
Giannis.
LeBron. That's LBJ for me.
Wow.
No jokes.
Y'all do realize that Giannis is having a better season in every statistic than he did last year?
Say it again, please.
LBJ punished them when they went head to head.
But it's not 1-on-1. It's a 5-man game. It's a 5-man game.
Hey man, if those are the two we saying going to the finals, he punished them.
Okay.
Giannis gonna win back-to-back MVPs because they're not gonna count these final 8 games. So
he should.
LeBron had a hell of a season. I give it to him. But if you factor in that, we just said Giannis is a potential defensive player of the year, and he's one of the offensive players of the year, and you combine them, gotta give him love over LeBron. Just my opinion. Speaking of basketball, really, J3.
He over there hating. He over there hating.
You're killing me. Speaking of balling, the WNBA kicked off its new season this past weekend. I like that the NBA fellas, show support for the ladies. They were a bunch of them was sporting their orange WNBA hoodies over the weekend to support the ladies. And man, I don't know if y'all coordinated games, but some of these games was really, really interesting. The weekend started out with, of course, they tried to put some shine on Sabrina Ionescu, the consensus player of the year coming out of Oregon. Miss 2,000, 1,000, 1,000, the only player, male or female, ever to do that. But you talking about giving her a bad matchup? They put up against Seattle Storm. Seattle Storm was the 2018 champions. They made the playoffs last year, and they were missing their 2 best players, 2018 MVP Breanna Stewart and future Hall of Famer point guard Sue Bird. Well, they back in 2020. So they put it on Sabrina, made her debut a tough night. After that, the LA Sparks did their thing. The first game was on ESPN. The Sparks got to play on ABC, so they got some actual nationwide, big-time television. And then the nightcap was the defending champion, Washington Mystics, doing their thing. Coming out, the team that didn't get their parade like they were supposed to have lost 4 starters off of the championship team from last year. You've got Christy Tolliver decided not to re-sign with the team and decided she was going to sign back with the LA Sparks, but then she's sitting out this year. Of course, we've talked about the Elena Deladon situation with the health issue. You also had starting forward center Latoya Sanders, who also has a health issue, who got approved. She's sitting out the season. And then, of course, my favorite player on the team, Natasha Cloud, our Bulldog point guard, who decided to sit out for keep her social justice platform moving and dedicate 100% of her time for the next year or so doing that. So with all those people missing, you think the Mystics would take a step back? No,
Man,
no,
they
no, no, no,
good
no, no,
God
no,
Almighty.
no.
They went on beast mode level. Couldn't miss.
Absolutely. Coach Mike Tebow got the players that remained from last year, picked up a couple of gems in the offseason, and for all the local people from the DC area that know a little bit about go-go, they got a young lady named Maisha. It's Maisha Hines Allen, aka Maisha and the Hip Huggers from old go-go days. She put it on them. She dropped 27 points, 10 rebounds in the first game. Last year, she was the 11th player off the bench.
That's showing some love right there.
They did their thing. They beat a team down, scored 100 points. They're actually right now on NBA TV. They're at halftime playing Connecticut Sun, who is the team they played in the finals, and they're down 4 points. But Washington Mystics, it look like they're going to do their thing. So I just wanted to give a hats off to the ladies. If you get a chance to watch some of the WNBA basketball, please check it out. It's good basketball, and you don't have to worry about how you're going to find it. This year, they're going to have at least almost 40 games on ESPN or ABC, plus they're also on CBS Sports and NBA TV. Last but not least on the NBA, did y'all hear what Kyrie Irving did for the WNBA?
Yes.
Congrats.
Kudos. Even though I don't like him, kudos.
Right.
We got to give Kyrie some dap, because we done killed Kyrie on the show a few times.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Being
Give
a
him
team
some
killer.
dap.
Yep.
Kyrie set up the KAI Empowerment Initiative. He just did this Monday, where he's set aside $1.5 million that he's going to be giving out to WNBA players who've decided to sit out this season, whether it be for medical reasons or for social justice reasons, if they're not getting paid. Now, the WNBA are playing some players who get cleared for medical reasons and not have to play. Those players get paid. But if you just decide you didn't think it was safe, or you're deciding that you're going to fight for social justice, Kyrie is going to supplement their income and pay some of these players. I hope other NBA players get involved. And quite frankly, the NBA should just come in and step up and just say, look, we're going to pay these ladies, because it's not that much money anyway.
Right.
There are 12 teams. The average team has 10 to 12 players, and the top salary is $300,000. So the NBA can just write that check and be over with and just pay everybody. But Kyrie, good job for stepping up, showing that you care, and being supportive of women's sports.
Yeah. And if they don't, I hope more NBA players step up and put their money where their mouth is.
I agree, partner. I definitely agree. All right, fellas, it's almost time for us to get out of here. Just some things that caught our eye during the week. NHL, Ed mentioned it earlier this week. Sunday, they reported to their Canadian bubbles. The NHL season kicks off this Saturday. So for all you puckheads out there, we're going to start talking hockey again. And, you know,
rock the
because
red.
we're from the local area, we got to rock the red. We're looking for
red,
the Cats to do some things. We ain't worried about them Penguins, whatever.
Not at all. No factors.
I didn't even say nothing.
You ain't have to say anything. You ain't have to say. There you go. Oh,
There you
yeah,
go.
I feel you.
Are we doing jersey?
That grade 8, baby. Hey,
Are we doing jersey?
that grade 8, baby. Yeah.
I got you. I got you next week.
Let's go.
I also like to shout out for people out there. You may have caught it, may not have caught it. The NBA and TNT did a week-long series, 5 one-hour episodes last week. They called it The Arena. if you have a chance, check it out. You can catch it on demand. They're replaying episodes on NBA TV or on demand. Check it out. The NBA took a week off to talk about social justice issues and how the NBA players are reacting. So definitely a good watch. Anybody have anything to caught their eye this week?
I mentioned the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones fight that's supposed to take place in September. Yeah, I know, bro, but it should be interesting to see. I mean, again, Mike Tyson is showing clips of him, throwing jabs and bobbing and weaving for like 15 seconds. But he does realize that most fights last like 10 to 12 rounds. So
this is an 8-round exhibition.
Yeah, it's exhibition. I know, man.
He said he only know how to go one way, knock a dude out.
Yeah.
So, Roy,
it's easy to punch mitts and somebody that ain't punching back.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, acting like Tyson wasn't the greatest thing happening in the 90s, man. Come on, man.
I mean, 20 years ago.
It's not like he's. It's not like he's fighting. It's not like
I was the greatest thing happening in the 90s. That was years ago.
But it's not like he's fighting a current reigning, championship boxer. He's fighting another old dude too. This retired. So
shit, man.
Roy got some knockout power too.
I'm help. Yeah.
And his breath. That's about it. And his breath. That's about it.
But I know we've talked about this before many times in the wintertime, but the NHL, and I know you just mentioned this, Big Reg, but the NHL, we don't have anything else to do, folks, as far as real sports. Give the NHL a chance. It's the playoffs. They're not doing any regular season crap like the NBA or the Major League Baseball. If just watch one game. I'm asking everybody out there in cyberspace land, just give one team a chance. And if you don't like it, don't watch it again. But I think you'll be surprised how it's an action sport. It's constantly moving, players coming and going. Just give it a chance.
That was 10 seconds.
NHL hockey is unbelievable. I agree with you, Ed. Give it a shot. Y'all might get hooked.
Wow.
Anything catch your eye, Professor?
Yeah, and I wish this thing didn't catch my eye. But Dana Stubblefield, formerly of the 49ers and Washington football team, just got convicted of raping a lady, sexual assault. And what I'm hearing is that he can get 15 years to life. DNA evidence places him at the scene, held there at gunpoint. Yeah, I just don't know what's happening with folks in this day and time. But man, we just got to stop all the nonsense, y'all. So that's what caught my eye. And I used to look at this man as one of the most dominant defensive linemen of his era. And just to see this happen at 49 years old, it's a daggone shame. And I'm sorry for the victim of that. Yeah,
it is.
I feel you. Last thing that caught my eye was we've been giving this man a whole lot of love, and we got to continue to do it. Dana White concluded Fight Island this past Saturday. Four fights in 2.5 weeks. And Dana has said Fight Island was so successful that he's leaving the option open of doing other international fights back in Abu Dhabi and Fight Island. So can't wait. Can't wait. Boxing also is coming back soon. Real boxing, not this Mike Tyson stuff. You got Premier Boxing Champions, PBC, supposed to start in their fighting cards starting in beginning of August. I think this Saturday. Golden Boy is supposed to start their fighting cards again in August. So we're going to start to get some good fights coming up soon, too.
Ask Marcus, what do you got?
Well, as we've been talking about a little bit, the show, this Washington football team, this no-name team.
We're just trying to get out of here without that, man.
I mean, to be honest with you, when they first started talking about changing the name, I was against it. But the thing is, it's a shame that you got to get to this point, and now you don't have. They should actually Steiner should actually took care of this years ago. The fact that we now about to start the season and we the Washington football team, That's to me that's ridiculous.
That sounds like a video game, don't it?
Yeah,
10-yard fight.
It's like we're a bootleg Madden game. It's like we're a bootleg. We don't have an NFL license, so we got Washington football team.
Yeah, Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, no names in the back, just numbers and
right.
It never should have been allowed to get to this point. He should have changed this thing years ago, and to me it's just further embarrassment on the team. And like Johnny Brooks, Dan Snyder is the bad one of the week, definitely for sure.
Wow.
For letting it get to this point.
Wow.
I think the Washington football team name was a smoke screen to take the heat off of that Washington Post article. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Oh, you got to do something.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, it's time for our closing post so we can get up out of here. Professor J, you moving around, ready to go, so hit us off with your final post, partner.
Well, of course, my sentiments about everybody, just continue to stay safe, look out for your neighbors. If you see things going on, say something. We got to be able to police our own neighborhoods and stop all this nonsense from going on. If you can't do it and you don't have a voice, then I'm asking you to start doing it and make sure you get ready to vote in November. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you. J3.
Man, I just want everybody to continue to be safe and think smartly, man. I mean, the COVID is not going anywhere. So therefore, think about what you're doing. Think about who's around you. Think about your surroundings. If it's not safe, don't go there. Stay at home. That's it.
And stop going to parties at these mansions that people are renting out that have hundreds and thousands of people at them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Stop trying to live that life.
What you got for me, Ed?
I got
some more chicken wings.
I want everybody to keep that mask on. I want to wish tomorrow is not only my dad's birthday, but my cousin Todd, whose song that you hear when our show comes on and exits. I want to wish him happy birthday.
That's what's up.
That's all I got.
Happy birthday, cuz. Happy birthday, Dad. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for the support.
All right, Marcus, what you got for us? And also don't forget to plug the leg game.
I just want to encourage everyone to stay safe, wear those masks, be careful of your surroundings, social distance. And also, we're doing a show. Me and the rest of the Delay Game fellas doing a show tomorrow night. Come check us out. Go on YouTube, search for Delay Game, and search for this. You see this logo next to the. You found us. So come check us out tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Come check out some good talk about football.
Absolutely. I'll definitely be online tomorrow evening. I'd just like to say two quick things. First and foremost, this COVID is real. I know personally, unfortunately, I had a recent scare with my family. A sister of mine and her husband, unfortunately, have contracted COVID and are right now going through a very, very uncomfortable recovery, trying to get past this thing. And I personally had to go get tested as well as the rest of my household because my sister had just visited us. So please take this thing very seriously. It's no joke. It is absolutely no joke. And last but not least, I just like to give a shout out to my man, Professor J, who started a new journey this week. We're proud of your partner.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Keep doing your thing, my brother.
Thank you, man. Thank
you. All right, folks.
Catch me off guard.
Hey, that's what we do out here. Folks, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. I know we may have ran a little long this week, but we had some good stuff to talk about. We appreciate your time, the opportunity to share our opinions and positions on sports with you. You can tune in each and every week. We're here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. for our live show. Every week, you can set your clock at it. Posts will be there for you. If we're not going to be here, we'll let you know ahead of time, but we're going to be here. You can also check out our previous shows. Check us out, Positions on Sports Talk Show, our YouTube channel. Check out all the shows. You can also catch us on Facebook Live at Positions on Sports, YouTube. Please like and subscribe to the channels. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We know you could be other places, so we definitely appreciate your time. This has been the Positional Sports Talk Show. Y'all have a wonderful week. Stay safe. Peace.
God bless.
Out.